Hey, this is Tony from Imminent Sonic Destruction. You're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
One, two, three, four. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
Where are you located geographically?
Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, nice. Is it getting warm there yet, or is it
Yeah,
cold
it's
now?
it's finally nice out.
I'm in Richmond, Virginia, and it's finally blistering out again. It's been in the high 80s and that 80% humidity stuff. So,
Oh yeah, the good stuff.
yeah. Well, anyway, let's just jump right in if you want.
Sure, I'm in.
Um, for those not familiar, I'm going to start here with imminent sonic destruction. Can you give us like the two-sentence boardroom elevator sort of pitch?
Sure. I would like to say it's progressive metal that doesn't really focus on the technical prowess as much as the composition itself. Uh, I like to say we're a Pantera meets Rush and pals around with King's X type of a band.
Oh, I love that description. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. All right, well, let's just jump in then. So, the album title Floodgate suggests a sudden, overwhelming release of force or emotion. In what ways do you think progressive metal as a genre is uniquely suited to convey this message?
There's no limit on what you can do musically, and so therefore, if you feel it or if you have a wild idea, you're free to go for it. So that's why I think prog metal in general allows us to just go for it.
Fair enough. How do you think the interplay between the heaviness and the melody can be used to tell a more nuanced or emotionally complex story?
Well, I think if your melodies match the lyrics or the lyrical content, the mood of the song, it really helps kind of convey the power and what you're trying to put out there. You know, like a song like "The Light at the End of the Tunnel," right? It's kind of meant to be somber-ish, and you get
Right.
those kind of lonely guitar chords at the beginning of it to really set up the scene. Now, if I just had three-chord rock going with those lyrics, you might not really realize it. So, and again, that's kind of where progressive metal allows you to kind of go for it in that sense.
Fair enough. And I liked your description in the beginning about not too, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but did you say like not too technical or not too
Yeah, like we don't have a big focus on like technical
right?
prowess, like shredding like crazy. Uh
And I think sometimes less is way more
yeah,
because I
for
think you
sure.
listen to a lot of this prog stuff, and I'll be the first to be honest with you. A lot of times I hear the term prog before anything, and I'm already tuned out
Yeah,
because in my mind, it's going to be like some guy masturbating on his fretboard to show me how fast he can be or something.
right.
And after a while, you're like, all right, that's enough.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think used tastefully, like you guys are doing, and like you said, I think that works.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's kind of our philosophy because like we can do it, but we just don't want to do it all the time. We want to do it when it's right. I think of like a song like Arborist Calm from 2 albums ago, our big 20-minute epic. It's in the middle of it that we finally start going nuts, but even then it's not a whole lot. It's just right
Restrained,
for
right?
for that part.
And I think Rush probably did it the best, right? Because you had like, Alex Lifeson who could rip your face off with the solos, but
Yep.
everything was like, super tastefully,
Right.
I guess maybe restrained. I don't know if that's the right word, but
Yeah. Well, it does take a certain what's the word I want to use? Discipline to not just go nuts all the time. You got to
right.
hold back.
Right. And then it makes it more powerful when you do, I think, too.
Hmm.
It's not like you're going, ah, shit, here we go again.
Right. It's kind of why we don't like scream all the time. Like we certainly do it from time to time, but
Right.
it's more of a just we're just trying to convey a certain point at this part in the song.
Right. What's been the response to Floodgate so far?
Positive. I think more positive than I was anticipating, because it's a little bit different from our other releases where it's a little more laid back musically. We've been getting compared to the grunge scene, surprisingly,
Really?
which is what I grew up on, like when I was a kid, but that
Can I give
those
you a
words
side
have
note
come
here for a
up.
second?
Sure.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you
Yeah.
because, and you may end up hanging up after I tell you my story, but I believe I'm probably a little bit older than you, grew up in the 80s,
Uh-huh.
all about the 80s hair metal,
Yeah.
excess,
Yeah.
debauchery, whatever. And I believe that Cobain and that whole scene was sort of like the Antichrist, right? They came in and
Yeah.
crushed everything that was good.
Right. No,
So
I
there's my
understand.
take on that. Sorry.
No, no. I'm in a band full of guys that agree with you, So but for me personally, that's what I learned
Right.
how to play guitar on.
Sure,
And
sure.
so
I hope that wasn't offensive. I was just,
you're good, brother. Yeah,
and I
no, no
think at
worries.
a different time, like if we would
Yeah.
have fast forwarded time or Nirvana now,
Yeah.
it may not have had the impact it had on the music scene, but I
Nope.
might be on board because I can find myself humming to some of these songs every once in a while.
Right.
But it was, they
No,
killed everything I loved right
I
then.
know, I know, I know, and that's really like my bass player Brian. That he loved the hair metal stuff. Like him and his brother grew up like learning how to
Yeah.
play to that stuff. So whenever I talk about yeah, dude, Nirvana and Alice in Chains, he's like, oh fuck you. But
Right.
so I totally get it. You're not offending me at all. Um, but I mean, as far as like the album and the way that people are saying that it there people like it a lot more than I thought they would for sure. And the numbers even prove it. Not that like I'm a big numbers guy, but I can't help but to notice our streams have skyrocketed for
That's
this
wonderful.
album. Yeah,
How
it
much
is
uh
awesome.
how much headspace do you give to the critics and the comments and the posts? Because everybody's got a keyboard and can say whatever shit they want, right? Do you put much faith into that?
Uh, you know, it- this is going to sound crazy. It's been a while since I've read a bad review. I do tend to think that these websites don't necessarily want to put out bad reviews because then no one will share their articles.
Right.
Um, so maybe that's part of it, but we have had bad reviews in the past. We've had, even in a good review, people will say something like, I don't like this or I don't like that.
Right.
And to me, when I read that, it's all right, cool. That's what that guy thinks, and that's fine. We don't write music to, you know, I mean, we love getting the good reviews, don't get me wrong, but it's not why we're making it. So if someone has a problem with it, just don't listen, dude.
Yeah.
Or tell everyone on the planet how badly Imminent Sonic Destruction
Right.
sucks.
Bad press is good press. You know it.
Exactly.
Earl Earlier you said like, you kind of changed a little bit of stylistically on this record. So were you worried at all? And I think I'm probably going to know the answer now, but were you worried at all that the fans weren't going to take the journey?
Uh, Not really. Not really. I just thought people would notice it was a little bit different. I mean, it's not like the whole album is a complete shift and change. It's just like some like songs like The Wait or Light at the End of the Tunnel specifically. They're just kind of different for what ISD normally does, but I wasn't truly worried about it.
Yeah. Is there a message or something you want your fans to take away from after listening to an ISD record?
Uh no, I mean specifically to each album, not each album kind of has its own sort of
Let's start with
concept.
Floodgate. Well, let's just
Sure.
focus on Floodgate then.
Sure, sure. I would say, uh, I would say no, I'm not really worried about what they're taking from it as much as I just want them to know that we put out something where we really thought about every detail of the album while writing, rehearsing, and recording, and we try to make a whole piece. That's really all I want people to get from what they listen to our albums.
Okay, fair enough. Are you planning on taking this out on the road?
As much as we can, we are yeah, it's money, but it's we're balancing, managing
Lives.
families and
Yeah,
kid
yeah.
work and all that, all the normal stuff.
Wait,
So
you
just
mean you're not making millions from ISD like I'm making from this podcast?
yeah, right. Yeah, not yet, but
Right.
I mean, we went out on the road a little bit regionally when we put the album out initially. We're doing another we call it a micro tour. We're doing another one here soon. We're getting down to Ohio and out to Grand Rapids, and then we're playing a festival in Montreal called Prague Storm, and
Oh,
that is
nice.
August 9th or 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Oh, sweet. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
And that's probably not too far from you, right?
That's about a 9 hour drive.
Oh, it is that far?
Yeah, but it goes pretty quick.
Interesting. And so what else was I going to ask you? When you're writing these songs, are you writing them for how they're going to come across like in the live setting? Or are you writing the song for the song's sake and then adapting them?
Mostly for the song's sake, but we do think about the live setting too, because the way that these songs come about is I'll come up with a demo at home, or Pete will write something and we'll demo it out, and then we bring it to the band, and then we learn it as a band. And sometimes in that process, things from the original demo change because they just won't work
Right.
in a live band setting. So that it kind of morphs into something that works for both the album and the live setting.
As a prog band, do you ever write stuff that you are worried you're not going to be able to play live or leave out
Yep.
of the set because you can't play them live?
For sure. For sure. Um, we have a song called The Knife that's very difficult to sing and play guitar to. So we haven't played it since that tour when that album came out. That was 2016. Um, we'll play it again eventually, but yeah, there's definitely parts where like, how the hell am I going to sing this and play it at the same time? Fine Center is a good example of that. There's a part in the middle where the guitar is just doing this slidey riff, kind of back and forth from like the third fret to the 10th and back while doing pull offs, and I'm singing over it. So
Right.
it's probably one of the more difficult things I've tried,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
and it
I'm just
worked.
trying to envision it. I can't walk and chew gum and you're doing all
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. It just makes me appreciate guys like Ty Tabor, like we're
Oh my
like a song
God,
like
yeah.
"It's Love," where he's doing all these very clean chord changes in a chorus and singing it perfectly
Yeah.
live. It's incredible to see.
I'm a huge King's X fan, so that's a
Yeah,
great reference.
yeah.
Um, I'm losing my train of thought, but what were we just saying?
We were talking about writing songs and being worried about pulling them off live.
Oh yeah, I was talking this. I just had a band called Frog, Frogg, on the show. They're a bunch of Berkeley grads, real technical,
Yeah.
progressive kind of stuff. And they wrote the record, and now they're spending like 4 months or something learning how to play the record live before they can actually go on tour because they don't want to do it, super sequenced or whatever.
Right.
But the stuff is so intense that they
It's
just
got to
kind
be
of were like,
tough.
"Whoa, how are we gonna hell are we gonna do this?"
Yeah. Frog with two G's.
Yeah, Frog with two G's. They're really good,
I'm gonna have
really
to keep an eye
technical.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, young guys, all
Yeah.
Berkeley cats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Last Berkeley band I remember coming out, kind of blowing the doors off on the scene was oh God, Native Construct. I don't know if you remember them.
Mm-mm.
Kind of like Between the Buried and Me, real intense, heavy, a
Really?
lot of notes. Yeah. But
I have
they
to
were
check.
one and done, yeah. One album, but they were all Berkeley kids.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's the perfect place for that sort of technical prowess
Oh
anyway.
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So what do you guys have next then? Are you going to be doing the single video releases like the standard music business stuff now or
Well, we kind of blew our load on that already. We put out three singles before we put the album. So right now we got some shows coming up, like the little micro tour that we're doing. We're
Hey,
playing a festival here in Michigan soon. So we're just kind of getting ready to play out live. But I think we do have ideas, stuff we're working on to put out like, either later this year or early next year to kind of keep the ball rolling.
it's tough because you got in this world. If you're gone for like 30 seconds, people are like, "Who?"
Yeah, yeah,
They're moving
for
on to the
sure.
next five things.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of our biggest worries when we put out our last album because there was so much time that had passed between albums. Um, but it ends up working out as long as you stay busy and keep putting stuff out there. Your people they won't forget.
Right. No, I 100% agree. I know the bands I love, even though
Yeah,
there are some hiatuses,
yeah,
I'm back on it immediately when the new release comes out or
Yep.
whatever.
Right.
All right, so shifting gears for a second.
Sure.
Totally not related to ISD or even the podcast, but I got some ridiculous questions that seem to do quite well if you're game. You look like you have a sense of humor.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll start easy. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Hot dog, a sandwich. Yep.
Okay, good.
Two
We can
pieces of bread with
continue.
meat in the middle.
Right. No, we can continue. Everybody says no, and their hang up is that stupid little piece that connects them together or does whatever.
Get out of here.
No, I
I
talk
guess a sub sandwich is a sub or
right.
sandwich, right? Same
No, I
idea.
can argue this all day. All right, so the next one is cereal a soup?
Oh man. Technically, yeah. I never thought of it as
To
a
be
soup,
right?
but yeah, it's a cold soup.
Yeah, I mean, as weird as it sounds, it has to be.
Right. That's funny.
Are you okay with these so far?
Like, yeah, keep them coming.
I know they're totally not anything to do with ISD, but
I don't care.
we were
It's
just talking
funny.
about super short, funny things that keep people in. All right, I've got the deck of cards. I'm randomly gonna go.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Well, I'm trying to be politically correct here. Let's see. Or do you care?
I don't care.
Name 3 ways to get to the front of the line.
3 ways to get to the front of the line. Cut, know someone. I don't know a third one.
Name 3 activities that could result in a broken bone.
Jumping from a high height. Sneezing too hard.
That would be a good one.
um, working in the trades.
Okay. One more for you on, and then we'll go back to ISD. Just humor me for one more time. Name 3 things you shouldn't talk about on your first date.
Politics, religion, and whether or not cereal is a soup.
But I mean, I think it should be universal. Cereal is a soup.
Some people might get heated about it. Not
Oh,
you
they
or
do.
I.
We have long conversations about it here, but it's my show, so I edit it correctly, so
Right.
everybody thinks that cereal is a soup.
That's awesome.
Yeah. If you're stranded on a deserted island, you could take 3 records for the rest of your life. Assuming you've got some solar powered thing, what are they?
Dream Theater Scenes from a Memory, Metallica, Master of Puppets, and we'll go. Oh, this is a tough one. How far back do I want to go, or how far forward? Devin Townsend, Terria.
Oh, that's a good record.
Yeah,
I know you didn't ask, but for me, it definitely would be Diary of a Madman,
it's a great album. Great
Operation Mindcrime, the first one.
album. That's a great album.
And then Master of Puppets, but we have this argument a lot too on the show.
Yeah.
Ride the Lightning is pretty fucking good.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Like
I might go
Metallica is
Ride the
one of my
Lightning.
favorite. Yeah, one of my favorite bands of all time is Metallica. Second
Have
love.
you caught him on this run?
I did, and actually, it was the first time I've seen him in my
Oh,
whole
really?
life. Yeah, and I was such a big fan in high school and beyond. But I finally saw them at Ford Field here, and they opened with Creeping Death, and man, I was like shedding
Nice.
tears of happiness. It was awesome.
Nice.
Right?
I'm going to tell you one quick story before I
Yeah.
let you go.
Sure.
I grew up in New York, probably a lot older than you are, and there was this little movie theater in town across the street from a record store.
Uh-huh.
And they were on their first tour with Cliff, like traveling in a Trans Am, pulling their shit.
Yeah.
They did an in-store and then they played across the street. It was the middle of like December, January in New York, right? So they play in this theater. And I knew the theater owner and I was writing for the high school paper, doing whatever. And he's like, yeah, come on, I'll get you in. You can maybe meet them. So we went backstage and we're standing by the alley doors.
Yeah.
And I opened the door for something. I don't remember what I opened the door for, but Hetfield's guitars were lined up all in front of it. And he nearly killed me because of his guitars had just been tuned and they were
Yeah.
all ready to go. And then all the cold air on it. That's my Metallica story.
He was pissed.
That was
Oh
like
my God.
83.
Yeah, I was 1.
Oh, yeah. That was like 83. And I didn't
That's
know who they
freaking
were.
awesome, man.
I didn't know
Holy
who
crap.
they were. Well,
Yeah.
I don't even think Kill 'Em All was out yet, or if it was, it had just come out.
I think it did probably just come out.
And opening for that show was Raven when they used to wear their hockey stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're still going at it,
Oh
Raven.
yeah, John lives near here, near me in Richmond, and I have a this whole thing started as a cooking show
Yeah,
where I used to have people come to the house and cook when they were in town, and we'd sit in my
yeah,
kitchen and do the same interview while making grandma stew.
yeah.
And
That's
John's
awesome.
been over a few times, but what was my point?
Uh, you said Raven opened for Metallica at that
Oh
show.
yeah, so they opened from on that tour, and it was or
Yeah,
that show, and I didn't
yeah,
know who those guys were either. There
yeah,
was no MTV, I don't think. Or if there was, it was just the beginning.
yeah. It was coming. I don't think it was there yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it was just, and I didn't know who they were, but it was
that's.
interesting. Yeah, the guy almost killed me.
I bet. That's awesome.
But I mean, maybe 14. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
I don't know. So if fans want to find ISD, how can they do so? Give us all your
I mean,
socials.
yeah, all the socials. We have our own website, of course, imminentsonicconstruction.com. We're on Instagram, Imminent Sonic Construction, um, Twitter, ISD Band. Um, see some of the others. Facebook, it's just Imminent Sonic Destruction, no spaces. All of this is no spaces, by the way. That's all the big ones.
And that Midwestern tour, when is that coming up?
It's gonna be well, we're gonna do Montreal on August 10th, Sunday at Prague Storm. That's a big deal. Um, and then we got Akron on Friday, August 15th at Afterlife. Awesome venue. We'll be home on August 16th at the Token Lounge, and then Grand Rapids on August 17th.
Tony, thanks so much. I know I was everywhere, but I like
No,
to just
man.
do something different than
Yeah.
tell me where the name of the band came from.
Hawkwind.
Oh no, no. I was just saying I'd like to not talk about that because you get those same questions every day, right?
No, you're right. You're right. But
When did you ever get a question about is a hot dog a sandwich?
I don't think I have ever had that question.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so one more because we
Sure.
got like a minute.
Sure.
What three things could you buy at the grocery store that would make the cashier the most uncomfortable? And we'll end on that.
Well, a big old bottle of lube, from, the pharmacy section, of course. The biggest pineapple you can find, and let's go with like a bench scraper.
On that note, Tony, I know you've never had that question before, so thank you for taking
Nope.
the time and playing
No,
along. I
no,
appreciate it.
no problem.
I'm going to send you that email probably today when I'm done with all these interviews. And if you want to join us, that'd be fun.
Sounds good, man.
All right. Be well. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.